Let's start with a truth most men never hear. Women do not pursue a man simply because he is handsome, successful, or kind. They chase a man who carries himself with certainty, direction, emotional depth, and a quiet internal authority that creates a powerful pull. The modern problem is not that men lack potential, it is that they lack presence. And in a world overloaded with noise, distraction, insecurity, and constant validation seeking, the rare man who shows emotional gravity instantly stands out. He is not loud or dramatic, he moves with purpose and clarity. He thinks with intention. He responds instead of reacting. And the strange part is that these men are not even trying to be chased. They are simply aligned with themselves. They do not perform for attention. They do not fight for approval. And they never try to convince anyone of their worth. Women naturally sense something solid, something uncommon, and they gravitate toward it. This entire breakdown on Psychology 360 will show you exactly what that something is, because attraction is not random, desire is not accidental, and a woman chasing a man is not luck. It is always a response to specific behaviors, mindsets, emotional patterns, and personal standards that create magnetic draw. If you ever wondered why some men get pursued effortlessly while others struggle to gain even basic attention, this expanded explanation will open your eyes, not with tricks or manipulation, but with the internal qualities that transform how women experience you. The truth is not about becoming the man every woman wants. It is about becoming the man a woman does not want to lose. Women chase men who do not need them. This does not mean a man is cold, detached, or uninterested. It means he does not depend on a woman for emotional stability or validation. He already has a life filled with purpose, direction, relationships, personal goals, and internal balance. He is not hoping a woman completes him, heals him, or defines him. He enjoys connection, but he does not collapse without it. Many men grew up believing that constant attention, endless availability, and nonstop effort were the correct ways to win a woman over, but the opposite is true. When you emotionally depend on a woman, she pulls away. When you want her but remain grounded without needing her approval, she becomes more invested. She starts wondering why you are not desperate, why you do not respond like most men, why you feel different. A man who does not need a woman is harder to manipulate, harder to shake, and harder to emotionally unbalance. He stays calm when she tests him, steady when she pulls back, and composed when life becomes stressful. He chooses her, but he can walk away if necessary. That choice is what makes him powerful. Women do not want to be the center of your entire existence. They want to join a life you already built. Men with quiet confidence ignite a different level of attraction. Confidence does not come from bragging, showing off, exaggerating achievements, or constantly trying to impress. Real confidence is silent and strong. It is the confidence that does not need applause. It is visible in how a man carries himself, how he speaks, how he listens, how he thinks, and how he remains grounded under stress. Women instantly feel the difference between true inner strength and insecurity disguised as arrogance. A man who stays calm, listens more than he talks, and lets his presence speak for him creates emotional safety. He does not panic when she takes time to reply. He does not break down over small disagreements. He does not get jealous easily. He knows his value deeply and quietly. This is why women say there is something different about such a man. That difference is inner peace. Emotional control is more attractive than physical appearance. Good looks might catch attention, but emotional stability is what makes a woman stay, chase, invest, and trust. A man who reacts to everything, gets irritated quickly, becomes jealous easily, or falls apart emotionally feels unsafe. Women pull away from reactive men because being with them feels draining, but a man with emotional discipline becomes an anchor. He stays centered even when things get tense. He responds instead of reacting. He observes before acting. He controls his emotions instead of letting them control his decisions. Emotional control is masculine strength in psychological form, and women naturally chase a man who feels emotionally safe, steady, and dependable. Boundaries are another trait that separate men who are pursued from men who are ignored. Many men say they want respect but allow disrespect. They say they have standards but abandon those standards as soon as a woman shows interest. They tolerate behavior they would never accept from anyone else because they fear losing her. But a woman does not respect a man who cannot respect himself. When a man stands firm, communicates clearly, and refuses to compromise his dignity, something powerful happens. She stops testing him. She starts respecting him. She becomes more consistent because she now knows she is dealing with a man who protects his emotional world instead of bending just to be chosen. A man who is consistent yet still unpredictable in healthy ways becomes unforgettable. Predictable routines, predictable reactions, predictable conversations, and predictable emotional responses make a man boring. Women crave a balance of safety and novelty. They want emotional stability, but they also want energy, personality, humor, depth, spontaneity, and a sense of discovery. This is not chaos. It is not manipulation. It is simply letting your true personality breathe. A man who can be reliable yet exciting creates emotional momentum, and women chase that momentum naturally. Attention is only valuable when it is not free. Modern men give away attention easily through constant texting, instant replies, and nonstop compliments. But anything that is always available loses value. When a man gives his attention intentionally instead of automatically, women notice instantly. Selective attention communicates self-worth, emotional discipline, and maturity. A man who values his time signals that his attention is meaningful and not handed out without effort. Women chase attention that feels earned, not attention that is thrown around for approval. Purpose is the foundation of male attraction. Women admire romance, but they chase purpose. A man who is building something meaningful naturally becomes magnetic. His ambition, direction, and focus create gravitational pull. He does not center his world around a woman. He centers his world around his mission, and that mission is what pulls the right woman toward him. Purpose reflects self-respect, discipline, and independence. A man without purpose seems lost, and women feel that instantly. A man with purpose seems powerful, and women feel that even faster. In the end, the truth is simple. Women do not want men who treat them perfectly. They want men who treat themselves with self-respect, emotional discipline, high standards, and strong identity. Most men chase validation and lose themselves in the process. Women cannot chase a man who has already abandoned his own center. But when you protect your boundaries, guard your attention, stay calm, remain self-sufficient, and pursue your purpose before romance, everything shifts. Women stop drifting away. They start investing. They stop testing. They start chasing. Attraction becomes natural instead of forced. Desire becomes effortless instead of draining. And connection becomes stronger because it is built on respect, not neediness. I want to hear your experiences. Have you noticed how women react when you show emotional stability, boundaries, purpose, and confidence? Share your story in the comments. On Psychology 360, we explore the deepest layers of human behavior, attraction, mindset, and emotional intelligence. Every story helps other men learn, grow, and transform the way they show up in relationships. Remember, this is not about manipulation. It is about becoming a man who naturally inspires respect, trust, and desire. When you become that man, you do not chase, she chooses. Most men don't realize that attraction doesn't end once a woman becomes interested. Attraction must be maintained, deepened, and strengthened through the energy you bring into her life. In this next chapter, we go deeper into the psychology behind why women begin to chase a certain kind of man and why that chase can intensify when he continues to embody qualities that set him apart. Because once you understand this next part, you will never view male-female dynamics the same way again. One of the most misunderstood truths is that women chase emotional leadership. Emotional leadership is not dominance, control, or authority over her. It is the ability to guide the emotional tone of a moment with calm energy. A man who can remain steady during tension, composed during conflict, and patient during uncertainty, becomes someone a woman instinctively trusts. She feels like she can lean on him without losing herself. This emotional leadership is what makes a woman relax into her feminine energy. When she feels safe, understood, and emotionally grounded, she leans in more, participates more, invests more, and ironically, chases more. A man who loses control of himself emotionally loses her trust long before he loses her interest. Women also chase men who create an environment of curiosity and personal growth. A man who is constantly learning, expanding, evolving, and improving radiates an energy that is deeply magnetic. His lifestyle has movement, his mind has depth, his conversation has texture, his life has direction. Women are drawn to progress because progress feels alive, stagnation feels dead. A man who grows becomes someone she wants to be around because being with him feels like moving forward. This is why men with deep interests, personal missions, ambitions, and passions naturally attract pursuit. They bring her into a world where she feels inspired, not bored. Another layer most men overlook is the power of masculine calmness. In a society full of stress, drama, and emotional chaos, the man who stays internally calm becomes a sanctuary. Women chase men who make them feel emotionally regulated. Your presence should quiet her mind, not overwhelm it. Your words should bring clarity, not confusion. Your energy should reduce anxiety, not add to it. Masculine calmness is not silence, it is not coldness, and it is not emotional detachment. It is emotional reassurance without needing to say anything. It is the power of being someone she can trust, even when everything around her feels uncertain. There is also the psychology of selective vulnerability. Many men misunderstand the concept of being open. They either overshare every insecurity or hide every emotion behind hardness. But selective vulnerability creates intimacy without destroying masculine presence. When a man can express his truth without losing his emotional balance, a woman feels deeply connected to him. She realizes he is human, but she also sees he is strong. This combination creates pursuit because it makes her feel special. She feels chosen, not used, included, not overwhelmed. Women chase men who open the right parts of themselves at the right time, with the right intention. Another quality women chase is masculine decisiveness, not controlling behavior, not ordering her around, but the ability to make decisions confidently. Most men underestimate how attractive decisiveness is. When a man hesitates constantly, waits for approval, or is scared to take the lead, he loses presence. A man who knows what he wants, communicates directly, and takes initiative creates emotional relief. Women feel calmer around decisive men because they do not have to carry the emotional weight of guiding everything. She does not want a dictator. She wants a man who can lead when needed and listen when required. This balance creates pursuit because it brings stability into her emotional world. Women are also drawn to men with disciplined self-control. A man who respects his boundaries, manages his impulses, and controls his habits radiates strength. Discipline is one of the most attractive forms of masculinity because it shows mastery over oneself. Whether it's in your work, health, communication, or relationships, discipline signals reliability, and reliability is a core ingredient for long-term pursuit. When she sees that you can control yourself, she instinctively believes you can protect and guide a shared relationship. This inner structure makes her chase the man who has mastered himself. Another powerful pull is the psychology of emotional distance done correctly. Not ignoring her, not disappearing, but maintaining your individuality so strongly that she never feels like she owns your identity. When you keep parts of your world private, when you have a life that is deeply fulfilling on your own, she becomes more curious. Curiosity fuels desire. Desire fuels pursuit. Most men hand their entire emotional world to a woman too soon, but a man who shares openly yet maintains mystery creates magnetic tension. She feels drawn toward the parts she cannot fully access, the parts she wants to understand, the parts she wants to earn. Women also chase men who make them feel chosen, not captured. There is a difference between a man who gives attention because he is desperate and a man who gives attention because he genuinely sees her value. When a woman feels like she is chosen for who she is, Not because you need someone, she invests more deeply. She becomes more consistent. She begins to match your effort. The moment a man stops trying to capture women and starts choosing intentionally, his entire presence changes. Women chase choices, not desperation. Purpose continues to be the center of everything. A man without purpose feels emotionally empty. A man with purpose feels emotionally full. When a man is driven by his mission, his goals, and his future, it creates a gravitational pull that women feel immediately. Purpose gives your life shape. It gives your energy weight. It gives your presence meaning. Women do not chase men who wander. They chase men who walk with direction. This chapter on Psychology 360 continues to show a truth many people avoid. Attraction is not something you force. It is something you embody. When you build yourself, protect your emotional world, grow without seeking validation, and lead with calm strength, pursuit becomes natural. Women start recognizing qualities in you that are increasingly rare. They begin to value your presence. They begin to fear losing you. And the chase begins not because you asked for it, but because you have become the kind of man who inspires it. There comes a point in a man's journey where attraction, respect, and desire move beyond surface-level behavior and become something deeper, almost instinctual. This final evolution is where a man stops trying to understand women and instead understands himself so clearly that women are naturally drawn into his world. The chase is no longer about effort. It becomes a natural consequence of who he has become. The final evolution begins when a man understands the power of emotional independence. Not detachment, not coldness, but emotional sovereignty. This means your peace is no longer controlled by her moods, her responses, her timing, or her approval. Most men give women emotional access to parts of themselves they haven't even earned. But a man in his final evolution maintains his inner world with strength. He allows connection, but he never allows dependency. Women chase this not because he withholds love, but because his love is grounded in strength, not need. When you stop relying on a woman to complete your emotions, she becomes naturally pulled toward the emotional stability you radiate. The next stage is the mastery of masculine silence. This silence isn't about ignoring her. It is the silence of clarity, self-control, and observation. It is the silence that speaks louder than insecurity. When a man can stay silent instead of reacting impulsively, he becomes unpredictable in the most attractive way. Women sense the depth behind this silence. They feel the mystery, the self-assurance, the emotional maturity. Masculine silence creates gravity. It gives your presence weight, and weight creates attraction. Men who fill every moment with noise come across as insecure. Men who choose their words intentionally come across as powerful. This power is magnetic. Another part of the final evolution is the ability to remain grounded under pressure. Emotional storms come in every relationship. There will be disagreements, misunderstandings, moments where she pushes boundaries, moments where she tests your emotional temperature. A man in his final evolution does not panic. He does not explode. He does not withdraw out of fear. He stays steady. Steady men are rare, and rare always attracts. When you respond from calm strength during chaos, you imprint something in her mind. She realizes she cannot find emotional security like this anywhere else. That realization is what makes her chase deeper and harder. The final evolution also includes mastering the masculine paradox, the balance between emotional availability and emotional boundaries. Many men swing to extremes. Some become emotionally closed, fearing vulnerability. Others become overly available, seeking closeness at the cost of their power. The final evolution is about balance. You can be emotionally warm without being emotionally weak. You can be caring without losing your center. You can be vulnerable without collapsing into insecurity. Women chase this paradox because it represents emotional intelligence at its peak. It shows strength and softness in perfect harmony. It shows heart with backbone. That balance creates long-term desire. Another transformation in the final evolution is the power of emotional detachment from outcomes. This does not mean you do not care about her. It means your happiness is not tied to whether she chooses you. When you operate from abundance rather than fear, everything about your energy shifts. You stop chasing outcomes, you stop trying to control the connection, you stop worrying about what she will do next. You become fully present, fully grounded, fully self-led. Women chase men who live in the moment with confidence, not men who are constantly afraid of what might happen. When a woman feels that losing her will not break you, she becomes more invested in staying. One of the most powerful elements of the final evolution is the ability to lead without forcing. Masculine leadership is not about domination, it is about direction. A man who knows where he is going automatically becomes someone a woman feels drawn to follow. It gives her a sense of safety, clarity, and trust. Leadership is not in your words, it is in your consistency, discipline, certainty, and follow-through. Women chase the man whose life has structure because structure makes her feel emotionally safe. A man who leads his own life with strength naturally leads the emotional dynamic in the relationship. And this leadership is what makes her feel chosen instead of controlled. Another layer in this evolution is the power of masculine detachment from drama. A man who is not addicted to chaos, not triggered by emotional games, and not pulled into unnecessary conflict becomes extremely attractive. Women feel peace around him. Peace is addictive in a world driven by emotional turbulence. When a man refuses to engage in small battles, refuses to argue for ego, and refuses to match emotional instability, he becomes the calm center of her world. Women chase men who bring peace into their life, not men who add storms to it. The highest point of the final evolution is the man who genuinely loves himself, not in a superficial, self-centered way, but in a deep, grounded, mature way. This kind of self-love shows in how he treats his body, his mind, his future, his dreams, and his emotional health. Women chase men who value themselves because a woman will always treat you the way you treat yourself. When you love yourself at a high level, you teach her exactly how to love you. When you respect yourself, you teach her exactly how to respect you. When you prioritize your growth, you inspire her to grow with you. This is the level where a woman stops just liking you. She begins to deeply admire you. In the final evolution, a man becomes the emotional and psychological version of gravity. He does not pull. He does not demand. He does not chase. He simply exists in his highest form, and everything around him moves naturally toward him. This is the kind of man women remember for years. This is the kind of man women chase without hesitation. This is the kind of man who shapes not just relationships, but destinies. And on Psychology 360, this is the man we help men become.